School is the most important thing in your life. And while I hate school, I got a PhD. And I hate school. I hate everything about it. So somebody say, E, if you hate school so much, why you get a PhD? Because I hate school, but I love options. You can have average skill, but you can't have average will. You can't have average will. Like your will has to be phenomenal. You have to see basketball as the gateway. It's like a passport. Basketball is just your way to get in, and then once you get in, boom, then you dominate. So I'm telling you, you're not taking a test because they're giving you the test. You're taking a test that's about to change your life, your mama's life. And I know if you take the test serious, you'll kill it. When you go through your go-through, your siblings are watching you. When you go through your go-through, your friends are watching you. When you go through your go-through, your parents are watching you. And people will use your strength to get through their stuff.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy, E.T. Welcome to another edition of Free. That's how you heard what I said, free. FreeSummerSchool.com. Knowledge is the new money. Get you some. Listen to me. I'm just trying to help you out. You say you want to be successful. You say, you know what I'm saying, you want to live in the gated community. You want to have the fancy cars. You know what I'm saying? You want to have the clothes, the girl, all right? Yeah, I don't know. I know what the song say, but I'm saying it in the plural. I'm not saying it in the plural. I'm saying it in the singular, all right? You know, you want to be able to travel. You know, some of y'all want to fly private. Some of y'all, you know what I'm saying, you know, first class, whatever. You want to be able to, you know, take trips and be gone for 30, 40 days at a time. Whatever it is you're trying to do, I'm telling you, you can do it. But remember what I told you. Information changes situations. Information, and that's what I'm trying to do. Do you know a lot of people aren't successful? And I must admit that I was one of them for years. People who live in their feelings. Like, yo, I was living in my feelings. B, I wasn't living in facts. And what I've discovered is, like, for real, if you do math, you know, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Please excuse, parentheses, exponents. You feel me? Please excuse come on, are you feeling, dear Aunt Sally? Look, it is what it is. You can't switch that up. You feel me? Multiplication, right? My aunt, come on, you feel me? Addition, right? It's right there. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You feel me? You can't. It's a formula, and I'm trying to tell y'all, man. I used to be in my feelings, and I would make decisions based on how I felt. That's so random. That's so random, y'all. That's so unpredictable. There is no stability in your feelings. I don't feel like it. Do you know I wouldn't be successful today? Like, I wouldn't have 1 degree if it was about me feeling like studying, me feeling like going to school, me feeling like doing my schoolwork. Like, me feeling like reading, me feeling like doing research, me feeling like going to meet with man, if I was on my feelings, like if I lived in my feelings, man, and there are some things that, you know, I regret. There's some things that some habits that I had because I was in my feelings. But I'm telling you, I'm getting way more results because I'm in the facts. Knowledge is the new money. Get you some. The right information changes situations. Are you hearing me? You getting the wrong stuff from the wrong people. All right, so today I want to talk about something that most people don't want to talk about, right? And it's managing failure. Can I just keep it 100? Like all the way 100? Failure, I had to manage it because it was so much a part of my life. I'm a high school dropout. I was homeless in my feelings, like pissed at my mom. I was in my feelings. So I left the crib not realizing, like, where you going? What you gonna do? I'm out here eating out of trash cans, stealing food out the grocery store. I'm stinking. I'm walking miles and miles and miles. This before they came out with the Apple Watch and it was popular. You feel me? I was getting rings completed long before Apple Watches, right? Just walking for hours and days out in the winter months, cold winter months of Detroit, feeling like I'm frostbitten. Are you hearing me? On feelings, nothing more than feelings. Feelings that I can't even doggone explain. I'm on facts now. And I realized, like, yo, failure is a part of the game, bruh. Even the teams that, man, you look at the New England Patriots, the year they went undefeated, they lost the doggone Super Bowl. And I think the Giants was like 10-6 that year. They lost 6 games, but they won the doggone Super Bowl. Failure is a part of success, y'all. You can't get over it. You can't get under it. You can't get around it. One nation. I'm sorry. You feel me? You just can't get around. And so, since failure is a part, we just got to learn to manage. B, sound the alarm, B. I'm about to give him a quote. Sound the alarm. Sound the alarm. Watch this, y'all. Michael Jordan, arguably one of the greatest to ever play the game of basketball, arguably one of the best that ever played the game, said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. MJ missed over 9 grand. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot, and MJ missed it. That's right. You heard MJ said it. I didn't say it. Don't get mad at the kid. I'm like you. I think he's the greatest to ever play. But he did miss. He was given the opportunity to win the game, and he missed the shot. He said, MJ said, I fell over and over and over. This is what MJ said. This ain't Eric Thomas. 3 times he said it. I fell over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I'm successful. Oh, come on, talk back to me. Talk back to me. I got it. I failed a class, and it was a very important class. I couldn't graduate because I got to go back next year and take it again. I failed my bar. Go back and do it again. I failed go back and get your ABCs 1 through 3. Go back and do it again. I failed math, geometry. Go back and try it again. I don't understand the 8 parts of speech. Go back and try it again. For those of us who have succeeded in life, and especially those that have succeeded on the level of Michael Jordan, they too have failed. But the difference is they understood that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. So do me a favor. Manage your failure. Manage your failure. I don't think any pitcher that has thrown a, what do they call it, a no-hitter, I'm sure they threw way more strikes than they threw no-hitters. It is what it is. I'm sure teams that have won the pennant, they pitchers have lost games. It's a part of it. So it's your boy E.T., man. I just want to encourage you, whatever you do when you fail, understand that failure is when you stop and you quit. Failure is when you stop and when you quit. Making an error is when you learn from it and you move on. It's your boy E.T. Never forget, small steps, great distances. Now you know. Let's go.
Welcome to Free Summer School. Knowledge is the new money. Get you some. E.T. and friends. I'm your host, Quincy Harris. Before we get started, I want to let them know, please don't sleep on sleep. We live in a culture now where people are filming each other falling asleep. I'm like, what's the problem? Like, we call them slipping. I'm like, no, sleep. You need your sleep. It doesn't matter if you work hard and you're doing all these other things. If your body does not get the rest, you cannot maximize and excel to the level that you need to get to. So don't sleep on sleep. Please get your sleep. Today we are talking about managing failure. I know you don't like to say the word failure or losing or loss, but talk to us. How do we manage failure? There's a lot of students out there that may think they're going to coast through life as if with a 100, nothing is ever going to happen wrong. Everything is going to be perfect. Please talk to them.
Oh, so first of all, hey, I apologize. I might have messed the culture of sleep up with I don't sleep. You know what I'm saying? But hey, if you go back and look at it, I never said I don't sleep. I said 50 said I don't sleep. And they took it as I said I don't sleep. Then Jurge came out with the sleep is for suckers. I'm like, yo, that ain't had nothing to do with me. Like, that's Jurge. I never said sleep is for suckers. They're like, he said sleep is for suckers. I'm like, that ain't had nothing to do with me. Call me a lollipop, all right? I do sleep, all right? If sleep is for suckers, call me a lollipop. ET sleep. I do. I go to bed. I used to go to bed, well, in the winter, I go to bed like 8 o'clock, right? And I get up at 3, right? I go to bed 10 now. I wake up to 3, 4, 5, right? Yesterday, bro, I went to sleep yesterday at 7:30, didn't wake up until the morning. So I sleep, bro. I just want to say that. All right, I do sleep. But let me say this. Yo, if you don't fail, it might hurt you in the long run. Now, I don't want to say no names, right? Because I don't want people to think I'm coming at them, but I'll say this to you. There are athletes, right, in different genres who from a young age became very successful at what they did, and they did not meet failure until they were adults. And I'm talking about when it hit them, it hit them. They weren't accustomed to it. They weren't used to it. They might have lost a loved one. Their career went in a whole different way. Lost their mom, lost their dad, got a divorce. Like you see people get on drugs. You like, yo, why is she on drugs? Why is my man on drugs? Like they successful. Like absolutely. They've never made any mistake, any error. So when they were 30 and a champion, they was new. They was new to it. They were new. And so here's the deal. It's not always about being perfect. Look at, and I can say this one, the New York Giants, right? They literally was like maybe 10-6, barely. I think they might have been like a wild card that year. Yo, they beat the New England Patriots, who were undefeated. The Patriots had lost one game in the regular season, right? They ain't lose no games on their divisional side. But guess what? When they got to the Super Bowl, the biggest game they lost. So it's really not about what you think. Failure is really preparing you, right, for the big one. That's what it's doing. So I look at being homeless. Yo, it's prepared me. I look at not having my father in my life. Yo, I thought that was the worst thing in the world, not having my biological father. Do you know how many kids I relate to? Like, I'm not talking about speaking and being deep. I'm talking about, you know how many kids I relate to. My mom got pregnant at 17. You know how many kids I relate to? You know how many kids had that experience, right? And so I used to think failing, dropping out of high school. Yo, I know what it's like. I know what it's like intimately not to be able to understand words phonetically. Like I understand what it's like, you know, to fail on every level, high school, college. Like I know what it's like to fail. And so what happens when negative stuff comes or different, you know, situations, CJ was like, yo, Didi got MS. Like, how did you just float through that? Because that wasn't my first time seeing, you know, like a tragedy. That wasn't my first time dealing with something, you know, that was catastrophic. Like I was homeless at 16. So a lot of my younger self that failed is able to teach the adult E how to get through failure. So it's not about being perfect, y'all. It's about being persistent. It's not about being perfect. It's about being powerful under all circumstances. It's not about being perfect, y'all, right? It's about perspective. And that's what failing to do. Failing will help you to see things in a way that other people don't say them. So I know I went the long route for that, but yeah, failure ain't always bad. Sometimes being perfect, again, it happened this year. Gonzaga was undefeated, right? Baylor wasn't undefeated. They lost a couple games, but guess what? They won the national title. Why? Because when stuff started getting a little, what do you call it? Gonzaga lost their number one player, and he got in foul trouble in the beginning. And guess what? They couldn't bounce back. Like they weren't used to lose. They was up 20 their whole life. They was down like 5, 6, 8. They had never been down before. They couldn't handle it, right? Baylor had been down. Baylor lost. And so on the big stage, they were ready for whatever because they dealt with whatever. So again, failure is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it prepares you for some of the most critical times in life. Oh yeah, y'all got cute. Yeah, they made you. They made you cute.
Your mic failed.
Listen, what are we talking about here? We're talking about not being perfect. Okay.
Right,
okay.
What
happens when opposition comes against you? You just you pull the lever up and you pull your mic volume up. Okay, that's what happens. Okay. Listen, what did you say? E? We not trying to be perfect. We ain't trying to be perfect. Nobody's perfect.
We're trying to put it back together again.
Come on, E. Let's go to Candace Quinney. Mrs. Candace, talk to us.
Awesome. So when I think about failure, I think about two moments in my life. One was when I was in middle school and we were testing and to get into like these specialized high schools in Detroit. So it's like in Detroit, you have to go to Cass, Renaissance, King. These were like the top schools and you had to test to get into them. So I'm like, yep, I'm going to test into these schools. And I'm like, and I got my test results back. And I'm in middle school, so I don't really know. But my mom had told me like, hey, you didn't get into these schools. So you're just gonna go to Persian. And I was like, okay, I guess, like, sure. And I remember just being so heartbroken because I knew like this is gonna be real when I get up to that school.
Oh, no question.
Seeing people get jumped, seeing people, I literally seen people with guns inside of my school, like friends with guns. Like that was a thing. So I was like, oh, like this is about to be hard. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make the best out of this situation, even though I didn't get in, even though I, quote unquote failed. But that literally was an incredible experience for me. Like what I learned, how I learned to navigate different environments, how I learned to, even though I, to just grind it out, get things done. I ended up being able to be the valedictorian of that school and to be very successful while I was there. Then that able to me to get full ride scholarships to school because I was like, a flower, in if that makes sense. If I went to Renaissance, I probably wasn't going to be valedictorian of Renaissance. So it's just taking that L and then making the most out of it. And I would say no matter what, when you experience failure, you have to keep pushing. Don't give up. My junior year, I said, I need to go to college. I grew up in the hood, my single parent, my mother, recovering addict. I said, I need to make it to college. We won't have any money. So I'm going to fill out every single scholarship application that came across that anyone sent me. I'm filling it out. And I would say probably the first 15 I did not get. Rejection. No. Until I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep doing this because this is my only shot. So I'm going to push through. And then at the end of the day, the biggest scholarship, like E talked about, all these little wins don't matter. It comes down to the big win, right? So you're going to have, the failure is going to prepare you for the big one. So yes, I lost 15 $1,000 scholarships, 15 100 laptop. Then I got the Bill Gates Millennium Scholarship, which was the full ride and whatever else I needed on top of that. So I would say when it comes down to failing, you got to keep pushing. Do not give up. Make it a resolve in your spirit that, hey, I'm not going to let this, because for me, it was no other option. Like it was either fail now or fail later. And so I decided to fail up front so that I can be successful later. So that's all I got, you.
Fail up front. Oh, fail up front.
I get it. Okay. Let's go to Candace Simmons. Candace, how do we manage failure? How do the students manage failure?
I adopted this principle some years ago, but it's very simple. I never lose. I learn lessons.
Yeah.
Right. And this came from, so many of you guys may not know, I'm a scientist. Well, I was a scientist. And I remember my very first day working at NASA. I was in this huge field.
Yeah, you are.
You're not just going. We're not just. Hold on. I'm sorry, E.
Right? No, that's what I'm saying.
We got valedictorians. We got scientists. Come on. You were a scientist, bro, working at NASA.
Yes, sir.
Come on. Yeah. We got to do a whole hour on that later. But talk to us about that, man.
Well, of course, we hear what NASA and all the amazing things that they've done over the years. And my very first day on the job, we were at this huge field, and they put these dummies inside of a helicopter. We were running some tests, and they pulled the dummies up in the air, and everybody had these devices in their hand, and they was doing an experiment. And so I'm looking, and they count down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And they dropped the helicopter out of the sky with the dummies inside. Boom. And everybody started looking at their devices. Everybody started looking around, and you would see one person be like, dog. You hear another person cuss. And I'm thinking to myself, I guess this failed. And my boss was next to me. He said, no, we didn't fail. There was a lesson to be learned. He said, I want you to remember this one thing. Experiment, fail, learn, then repeat.
Wow.
Experiment,
Yeah.
fail,
Yeah.
learn, and then repeat. And that's why I always say to myself, my motto is this, you know what? I never lose.
Yeah.
I get some lessons, right?
Yeah.
When I went through my divorce, it was like, you know what? I ain't lose.
Yeah.
I learned some lessons. I learned how I can improve myself as a man. And that's my encouragement to every young person is like, when a situation comes up and it looks like a loss, you ask yourself, okay, what lesson can I learn from this loss? And the reality is this, as long as we have life, as long as we continue to live on this earth, we have an opportunity to now take that lesson that we learned and to turn it into something else.
Powerful. Powerful. Let's go to Fatah. Fatah, how do we manage failure?
Asking for help. You know, I'm always mindful. When I was in the 9th grade, I was a math whiz, junior high, elementary, all the way up until junior high. Then all of a sudden, these harder classes came up. Geometry was my biggest fear. You know, it was such a big fear. And then being surrounded by the kind of peers that I had, you know, everyone really looked up to them. And it was just hard for me to ask for help because I just didn't feel like I was worthy enough. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense.
Absolutely.
But I was scared to ask for help. But what I realized, long story short on that, I had to retake that class my junior summer school, because without that class, I would not be able to graduate. And so imagine being a junior, sitting in that class with a bunch of freshmen and sophomores. The expectation is that that class should have been done by freshman or sophomore year. It didn't feel good, you know, but what it made me think about was like, why am I so scared to open my mouth and ask for help? Where does that come from? You know, and a lot of it is because in my upbringing, failure was never a discussion. If challenges happened, we just kept it moving. We don't sit down, have a family meeting to discuss where, you know, almost like a SWAT for the family. That never existed, you know, until here I am, fast forward down the road, being able to look at life and failure as a challenge, and that there's a lot of different obstacles that come with it. I always think of the Spartan race, you know, how hard some of those obstacles are. And that's really how I've been able to navigate it. And when I come across a challenging moment, I know a lot of kids, they're always on Google researching, trying to find answers for it. But even asking an adult that has been through some experiences, you know, for them to be able to share it, I think that will come from, it would be more empathetic coming from them, and they can resonate a lot more. You know, so for me, my biggest thing, because I was really scared, don't be scared to ask for help, y'all. You could be that senior that's going to finally graduate with that, you know, with that class. Do not be scared. Don't let that be the thing to stop you from being able to accomplish your classes. Ask for help. Tutors are there. You know, there's mentors out there to be able to help out.
Nice, Fatah.
Love it. Love it.
Let's go to Kale. Kale, talk to us about managing failure.
Managing failure. I've taken a lot of L's in this life, so I'm an expert in this area. I think in order to manage failure, you have to have a clear definition of what success is to you. Like, you have to have it. In my generation, success is being packaged, manufactured, and sold on social media every day. Like, people are telling you what success looks like. They're giving you parameters of what a successful person is. But until you define success for yourself, you won't be able to deal with failure, because knowing what success is gives you a definition. So when you fail, you can still see how much closer you are to your destination, even in the failure. But when you fail without a destination, you end up lost, not knowing where to go next. It's like, okay, I tried all these different things and I'm failing all these over places, but you don't really have a metric for knowing if you're closer to that success or not. So I think you have to define what success looks like to you. Somebody attempted to cyberbully me the other day because I was talking about the NBA or the NBA Twitter or something like that. And they got into my mentions and they were like, you call yourself a graphic designer on Twitter, but your graphic design page only has 1 follower. And I'm like, oh, so that means I'm not successful at what I do. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know.
Right. I'm saying that one person don't think I'm sweet. That one person think I'm sweet.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, you don't know that I'm working with ET, the hip hop preacher. I work with CJ, you know what I'm saying? I work with Jeremy Anderson. I don't have to tell you this because I don't need to prove anything to you. My success isn't measured by the amount of followers I have on my graphic design Twitter page that I don't tweet from. You know what I'm saying? Like, my success is measured by how satisfied my clients are with the work that I give them, how consistent I am with the work that I do. You know what I'm saying? How much revenue I'm bringing in as opposed to last year based on my own metric. You know what I'm saying? So I think you have to have a personally defined goalpost for your success so that you could deal with the failures in a system that is geared towards one specific goal or the goal that you have for yourself. Because with each failure, like Candace said, you learn something and you inch closer to your destination of success.
No question.
Story time. Here we go. I got a quick story. Failure sometimes is just God's way of saying not right now, right? I remember I was doing radio and I was behind the scenes on the radio, and I wanted it was an opportunity for me to get on the air, right? So it was 2 slots open for these 2 air positions. One was the weekend and one was the night show. And I really wanted the night show. And I was like, please, because I was a young guy, I was like, I could be on the night show, I could do the clubs, whatever. Long story short, I don't get the job. I don't get either of the jobs. Right. So I don't get the weekend position, and I don't get the nighttime position. And I was like, I was crushed, and I was hurt. And these other people got the positions, and I'm happy for them because we all came up together, behind the scenes. And I was like, man, they got to be on. But I worked hard. So I worked hard, and they were like, you know what, Q, we like you. We have 6 months later, we saw how you're still working hard, you're still doing your thing. We have an opportunity for you to be on the morning show. But what you'll do on the morning show is you'll go out on the street and you'll run around, and you'll be our man on the street for the morning show. And although I was happy to have the position, I was a young guy, and I was like, I gotta get up early in the morning. Like, I don't feel like getting up early in the morning, being on the radio, running around in the street. And that position, if I would have got the other positions, it wouldn't have connected me in life. A lot of times in life, you get to connect the dots when you're a little older. Like everybody here, we're a little seasoned, so we get to see how dots connect in our life. Right. But I'll tell you how the dots connected. Me not getting those 2 positions and working harder behind the scenes, I get on the morning show. I get to work with a lady named Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams, it was around the time the Sixers played the Lakers. I got to fly out to go to LA and go to game 2 when the Sixers played the finals in 2001. I meet a guy named Big Boy. 5 years later, I moved to LA. I work with Big Boy, right? I produce a movie. I come back. So things started to connect for me. If I didn't get that position, if they didn't say no to me, that other position wouldn't have been available for me, and the connections I was able to build later on in life wouldn't have happened. So I just say sometimes a failure, or sometimes a no, or sometimes a loss is really setting you up for your bigger yes. Let's go to Coach B. Coach B, talk to us.
Hey, Candace, he too said some names and some stuff, and he just, what I'm saying?
I'm just right. I mean, I heard NASA and valedictorians and all that.
Yeah, I know you control that little button.
I had to go somewhere. Let's talk, Coach B.
Man, I love it. Look, at this point, Q, I could just say ditto and log off. I mean, I concur. I concur with everything. But so I'll be quick with this one, man. I think E really captured it when he said that failure really prepares you for success. I know a few episodes ago, I told the story of me being on an athletic team at U of M. I was cut 4 times in 5 years, failed over and over and over and over again. But here's the thing I want you to understand. Hard work never disappears. Ever. So throughout that process of the failure, I learned some things, right? I learned work ethic. I learned how to keep going after failure, right? I learned persistence. I learned wisdom. I learned all these different things, and I get to keep those. So even though I didn't get the outcome that I wanted, I got to keep all those things. The hard work itself never disappeared, and the reward for that, I still get to keep it. And now that I'm in the speaking game, the business game, the coaching game, those same qualities that I learned from the failure are actually what has allowed me to be relatively successful relatively quickly in the next chapter of my life. So I'll leave you with this. failure is never final as long as you just keep going. If you keep going, you never truly fail.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
it. That's
Listen,
it.
Let's go to Auntie Val. Auntie Val, talk to us.
Looking for my mic. Looking for my mic. All right. This is it for me. Failure is not the destination. It's part of the journey.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey. And the topic is managing failure, right? And I tried to hide my failures. One of my biggest failures, I tried to hide it. And being coached by E one night, Game Changers, with the speaking program, he said, do you think other people haven't failed? Because I didn't want to tell the world that I flunked out of college because I was a principal at the time. Why would I tell my staff and the world that my GPA was a 0.923 after first semester? And he was like, do you think your teachers never failed? And I would be so hard on myself when I spelled the word wrong. And I would be so hard. I'd be like, oh, you did. And after that, when I began to tell the world that my GPA was a 0.923, and then I wrote a book, and it was on the cover of the book from flunk out to front office, it was like, what? My students started buying the book. And they was like, you flunked out. I was like, I sure did. Don't you do it. Come on, let me show you how not to. But I got stronger because I did not hide my failure anymore. And sometimes I guess I'm talking to parents today, but sometimes as parents, we don't let our kids know that we did fail back in the day, or we still make mistakes, because parents and teachers are perfect because they always telling us when we did something wrong. But as adults, we have to expose our failures so our kids can see that they just need to keep going. Like everybody's been saying on the call, you got to keep going no matter what. Keep going. I got that from Kobe. Keep going no matter what. Keep going. So that's it for me, Q. Just it's not part of, it's not the destination. It's part of the journey.
Love it. Love it. Let's wrap it
Q,
up.
I'm sorry, Q. I gotta say this. And what I was trying to share with Val during that time part is that really organic costs more. If y'all know that, you ever been to the store? Organic costs more.
Yeah,
like it costs a little bit more for the organic juice than you know what I'm saying, the organic strawberries. What I try to teach people is, don't nobody want, bro. When I found out that, what I'm saying, whatever company I support, they got GMO chicken, bro, I'm good. I'm good on the GMO, bro. I'm good on that. That I don't know what that costs. When you start genetic, and Candace can tell you more than I can on this, but when you start genetically modifying stuff, bro, I'm talking about, bro, it will kill you. So we want not only real, but if we can get organic. Most humans, for whatever reason, Kale said the internet, they're making people fake GMO. People want, people want to deal with organic, bruh. People want to deal with authentic. So I just try to explain to people, I don't tell my failures because I'm necessarily like geeked about my failures, but I know I'm going to be more successful when I'm authentic. You feel me? And so that's why I try to tell people, when you try to act like you ain't never messed up, you trying to be deep, like, who are you attracting? Like other fake people? Who are you attracting? Who are you attracting when you're trying to, like, Chuck? Now, Chuck used big words. Like, that's just who he is. He phenomenal with it. He been his authentic self. I don't use those kind of words. I'm not. We both are great communicators, but I never say a word that I don't necessarily use on a day-to-day basis because it's not going to come out the right way. So I'm saying, to Val's point, failure makes us human. Failure makes people want to deal with us in full. I hate being around people, no disrespect, but I hate being around people who every time you open up your mouth, they correct you. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm good on that. We ain't in no college class. You know what I'm saying? I ain't writing no dissertation. Like, we ain't on that. You feel me? Like, please, with all of that. You trying to correct me as if there's not an area where you not. So when we are authentic, it's no secret. Everybody's fail. When you try to act like you don't, then that's when you start separating yourself from people. So just be your authentic self. And if they love you, they love you. And if they don't, they weren't supposed to be around you anyway because they fake.
That part.
Yeah. Charles Terry Jr., come on, take us home, brother.
Take us home. Wait, look, I was just about to talk to Amen Corner and pass that plate on E.
Don't pass that plate and get me in trouble.
Right, but real quick,
the IRS gonna want to know what I'm doing with it.
Right, that part. But I want y'all to be aware that Val dropped on there that she was a world-renowned author on her turn. I just want y'all to know that. That she did drop that, and people were buying the book.
Yes, that part.
We're going to keep going. So I want to put that out there real quick. But when we talk about managing failure, it's important that we realize that it's not so much that failure itself is like what's really stopping you, but it's the fear of failure. So I can remember back in high school, me wanting to take this AP course. And I'm like, I'm not going to take that course. I might fail it. Why am I doing that? I can take the regular class and be done. Mom's like, no, you're going to take the class because they said you're able to take the class. And then I got in the class and I excelled. I did just fine. But the fact that I could have failed was enough for me to say, no, I'm not doing that. Because had she not made me take it, I would have been fine with just the regular course. Right. Going out of here and get my stuff and go. So make sure that in managing your failure, that you have management over your friend circle that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, your circle of influence that are actually pushing you to make those potential failures that can lead you to potential successes in the future.
Powerful. E.T., take us home, brother.
I mean, that's it, man. Look, failure, y'all. Go do it as often as you can, as young as you can. You know what I'm saying? Just do it. Just go ahead and get used to it, play with it, get to know it, become familiar with it, because she's gonna be with you forever. He's gonna be with you forever. It's not going nowhere. And to Kale's point, it ain't failure if you're still alive. It's not how you know what failure is. You're not a creator, you're not God. How you know you fail? How you know you're not still experimenting, failing, trying all over again, then perfecting? You don't know where you are in the process. And can I say this to y'all? I am so grateful that I'm not where I am financially when I was 22 years old. I'm so grateful that I'm as successful as I would have been a little cocky, little something. I am so grateful that my 20s gave me a chance to fail so I don't look down at nobody now, where I don't go, I can't say this let me just say this. I can't say this on camera, but let me put it this way. There is an area where I thought I would never fail. You know what I'm saying? There was an area as me and my wife that we just felt like, we'll do X, Y, and Z, boom. And it didn't work out the way we thought. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm so grateful because had my wife and I perfected it, I would have been like, man, why you having that problem? Why you having that problem? And why are you having that problem? Now, because I've experienced it, because we failed to some extent in that area, and I don't use fail like in a bad way, meaning that it just didn't work out the way we thought, the way we saw. I'm so humble now. I'm so sensitive now. When people come at me and they got a problem in the same area we got a problem, I don't be judging them. I'm so like, how can I help you? Yep. I'm available. When you need me to be there. When you need me to get there. How you need me to, and I'm just being real. I probably wouldn't have been like that if the situation hadn't presented itself the way it was. So God is showing me, I allowed you and your wife not to be as successful as y'all thought y'all was going to be in a particular area. Why? Because your success might have not allowed you to help people in the way that, like, I tell you, I just had my professor call me, not my chair of my dissertation called me and was like, I'm having the same challenges. I was like, me and my wife will stop right now, stop, drop, and roll and come. We want to help. Why? Because people have helped us. You feel me? And so I promise y'all, man, if it wasn't for failure, I'd be a cocky little something. But because of my failures, it has made, I don't like the word humble. People say, Eric, you so humble. That's only a creator can have that. You know what I'm saying? God humbled himself. I'm not humble. You have to have something to be humble. I'm grounded, and my failures have grounded me. They've grounded me. They put my feet on the ground and allowed me not to think more of myself. You know what I'm saying? The Bible said, don't think of yourself more highly than you ought to. My failures have allowed me to be grounded and be able to say it is truly because of God that I have what I have, and that certain things didn't turn out the way they, not because of my decision making. So for all y'all out there, man, have a healthy relationship with failure. Don't beat yourself up. Don't look at yourself less than. The people that you look up to, they probably failed too. They just don't announce it. They've had areas where they didn't do as well as they wanted to. So just know you're in good company when you fail. Small steps, great distances. Now you know. Let's go.